Hello everyone. Today we are talking with one of our volunteers, Kanti, and we would like to ask her why she came to the project and how it was. Okay.
Thank you. Just give me 1 second. Okay. Hello everyone. I have quite an interesting story. I can't say I chose to come here because years ago during the pandemic I had a very interesting personal moment in my life when I kind of grew very off what I was doing, so I decided to quit my job and go on a gap year. And during that time I was in touch with my yoga teacher, and she was like, well, you're interested in volunteering, you're interested in meditation, why don't you volunteer with us? And I was like, yeah, why not? And she put me in touch with some of her colleagues, and we decided together that I'd go to Ghana. So I prepared all my papers, everything was ready in an envelope, and the same day I was supposed to send those documents to the embassy, my flight to Ghana was cancelled. So I found myself doing nothing because, I quit my job, I finished my studies. During the pandemic, you couldn't go out, so I just spent 14 hours a day reading books and doing nothing. And at that time, I was in touch with another volunteer who had been in Ghana before me, so he just provided some information. And when I decided, well, it's not like I decided, I just didn't go to Ghana because I couldn't go there because of the pandemic. And he told people in this project that, there's a girl, she wants to go to Ghana, but she can't because of the problems, of bureaucratic problems. And they called me. I had no idea who those people were. They just called me and they were like, we have a project in Sicily, do you want to come? And I was like, yeah, whatever it is, Because I was like, I'm not the kind of person who, well, I love being on my own, but, spending 14 hours a day reading is, you can do it for a month, it's nice, but afterwards it becomes a bit of a nuisance. So I just gave a quick look to the website, to the project's website, and agreed. So I came here. Initially, the idea was to stay here for 6 months, which was the amount of time I had in my mind for the project in Ghana, right? And the thing is, when I arrived here, well, I have to say that I've always been quite interested, even before practicing yoga, I've always been quite interested in volunteering. So I already had a volunteering experience before coming here. And the thing is, when I arrived here, it so happened that, as I already mentioned, I didn't choose to come here, but when I arrived here, it so happened that everything I was good at, which were my background is a teaching background. I worked with kids and I speak quite a lot of languages, and it so happened that everything I knew turned out to be precisely what was needed here. And for instance, we had a project, besides the project with children, which is the main focus in this project. We also worked with the Roma communities, so with the gypsy camps, and I happened to speak Romanian, which turned out to be very useful because they loved me straight away, which seems to be funny. Yeah, it seems to be funny, but language, the fact that the person speaks your own language kind of breaks a barrier. Yeah, so it helped us connect with them, and by the end of the year they would just give us their kids and they trusted us. And then a year later, the war in Ukraine started. So we went to Poland and came back to Sicily with 24 Ukrainians. And again, it so happened that that I spoke Russian and I was in the right place at the right moment, you know. And those tiny coincidences, if you want to call them this way, you know, made me feel precisely where I had to be, and also the qualities I was developing, because I started, well, I worked as a teacher before that, so I didn't have much responsibilities, whereas here I had to handle the whole situation connected to the after-school programs. So I felt I was growing personally, growing professionally, and building relationship with people in the neighborhood who also didn't trust us very much at the very beginning. And yeah, so I came here 3 years ago with the idea of staying for 6 months, and I'm still here. I'll give you back the mic.
Okay, why are you still here?
Oh, that's a very interesting question. Why am I still here? Because it feels, well, obviously there have been ups and downs, both in personal and professional terms, but with a hindsight, I can say that those ups and downs are precisely what I need right now to grow as a human being. And I think I've changed a lot during those 3 years. And you know, sometimes people, especially my family, would come up and say like, "You're wasting time. What are you doing there? You know, like when you go back to work, you'll have like a hole in your like CV or wherever," which I don't think is true, because what I'm doing here, and people, like, I have this feedback, it's not just my feeling, it's like I get feedback from other people, and the qualities I'm developing here, and I'm developing them way faster because of the responsibilities I've been given and I was willing to take. I'm growing way faster than I would have grown in a different place, just working as a teacher, which was what I was doing before coming here. And those qualities, wherever I decide to do afterwards, whether I decide to stay in a social project for my entire life or I decide to do something else, those qualities are useful to me. I mean, being able to manage a team, for instance, which was something I've never done before, is something that you'll use wherever you do afterwards. And also, the reason why I'm staying here is because I like, I don't want to be boxed in, you know, like I love teaching, but I also find myself here, I find myself to do so many different things and things I'm not used to. And I'm glad to take on those new duties, and because as a society we tend to think that specialization is good, which is actually true, because if you only do one thing you become really good at it, right? But the thing is, it kind of it's limiting at the same time, because you think of yourself as, you know, like I do this and that, I'm good at this and that, and everything else is left out. But truth is, we can be good at so many different things, and you'll never find it out unless you try them. And here I have the possibility, like for instance, at the moment I'm well, I'm not in charge of the after school anymore. I'm working on project writing, and like that's something I've never done before, and I've been lucky because I do it with other people who are more experienced than me, and I can learn So yeah, working side by side with people who are more experienced in other fields allows me to learn new skills, to acquire new skills, and try myself in different fields. And also, Sicilian food and weather are amazing.
How you survive?
Okay. So, well, when I arrived here, I had some savings, and also, well, it wasn't a problem at the very beginning. Also, because as I mentioned, I was planning to stay here for 6 months, not for 3 years. Obviously, at some point, those savings, I ran out of them, and I have to say that there was a time when I did it on purpose, because I've always been very much attached to my independence, especially in economic terms, because if you're independent from an economic term, you don't have to, well, this concept doesn't need explanation, I suppose. And I wanted to put myself into a situation where I had to trust and allow other people to take care of me, which I've never done before. And I have to say that it wasn't easy, obviously, but nothing worth doing is easy. So I did this, and this leap, let's put it this way, was nice at the very beginning. Then I had like a major personal and interpersonal conflict, which kind of made me question what I did, you know, because I kind of, well, obviously, if you trust someone, you give them power over you in a certain way, right? And I felt, and it's risky because well, this is dependence on other people. But it can be emotional, it can be economic, it can work on many different levels. And there was a moment when I felt like this was like the stupidest thing I've ever done, you know, like. And I started combining what I'm doing here at the foundation with a working activity outside. But I don't think this is going to last for a long time, because we ruled out our problems here, and I've also learned quite a lot of things about myself. And also I think that in the future, well, not in the future, we're already working on that. The idea is to combine this volunteering nature. I mean, being drawn towards service doesn't mean you have to walk around barefoot like Saint Francis, you know. It can be an actual job. You can like you build resources together, so we each one of us contributes some way to getting resources for the project, but at the same time we also beneficiate from the project. So the idea, if we want long-term volunteers, because all of us at some point reach a moment where you have to face also the necessities. Maybe you want a family, or you have your own projects. So there is a moment when you have to decide whether you want to stay in a social project and follow, which for me, for instance, is very important. It's part of my nature. Or do what you need. And if we want long-term volunteers, obviously the only way to get them is bringing together those two spheres, right? So allowing the project allowing people to find their own dimension within the project. So like see their necessities being satisfied and met. So yeah, this is what we're trying to do here, which is it's a bit of a shift because the project started out years ago as a volunteering project, but obviously we have, as Nilupa said, we are human beings and we also have necessities. Wait a second, here we go.
Okay, and also I would like to ask you, what touched you here the most? I mean, it's the service in general, or maybe values or mission of a project. What exactly?
I want to be entirely sincere and express a maybe unpopular opinion. I can't say I feel particularly connected to a category of people, which may be yogis or a specific organization. What is important for me on my path, both in spiritual terms and in terms of like personal and professional growth, is being in touch with people who inspire me. And I get plenty of this here. Like, I don't know, there are people, and it's not like they teach me something. By being who they are and like their dedication to like simply putting the others in front of their own needs, like, is something that I find beautiful. It's so beautiful that like sometimes I cry just because it's when you see it, because it's not something they do, it's just something they are, you know, and it's gorgeous, and it makes me it brings out the same qualities that are already in me, and being surrounded by people who are the same, which is not very popular. I can't say there are no beautiful people around. There are plenty of beautiful people around, but usually when I talk to people and say, you know, like, I dedicate myself to, like, I've got nothing, because I've got nothing. I mean, I don't have like houses, money or anything. And sometimes I have to say that maybe people I assist have more than I do, you know, and they'll go like, what's your problem? You know, like, they don't understand it. They don't understand. They kind of understand it, but at the same time, they'll try to make you think about what you could have, what you could do, and what you're not doing. It's difficult for them to understand that the others can be, I'm not saying more important than you are for yourself, but at least as important as you are, you know. And being surrounded by people who do the same is like, I don't want to use cliches, but it opens my heart.
Okay, Kanti, thanks a lot for this conversation. Okay.